coach of the Toronto Maple Leafs, Sheldon Keefe. Hey, thanks for joining us. I know there's a lot to think about, particularly in these half dozen games. Has minds been met in terms of your decision on how this thing plays out for, say, like a guy like Jack Campbell as early as tomorrow night?
Well, yeah, we've obviously in relation to tomorrow night, we have a plan there. But, in terms of how we move forward from there, I think we'll take it a day at a time, making sure each day that Jack is feeling good, both in body and mind. And at this point, he definitely is coming off the last night's game. So we'll take it a day at a time from here. But certainly, we're constantly, balancing the fact that we want him to be feeling good and confident in the net, but also making sure we're giving him appropriate rest and not putting him, in a situation where he's having to work too much at this point.
Sheldon, how much are you guys considering Austin Matthews' goal chase for 60 now? It seems like it's always a new milestone versus it seems like you're making a pretty clear statement that, team first and playoffs first are the most important things. Have you been considering that when you made the decision to sit him out last night or will you in the games ahead?
Well, I think, when you're making these kind of decisions with individual players such as Austin, who, obviously, as you state here, seems to be setting new milestone and thus new goals seemingly by the week in terms of how things have gone for him. You keep all that in mind, but I think as a team, collectively, individually, we know what the big picture is here and what we're striving towards. So we'll be mindful of that as it relates to last night. I mean, really wasn't a whole lot of decision to be made. I think. Austin and ourselves, of course, acknowledge this is certainly not the time of year or the situation for a player like Austin, or really any player for that matter, to be playing, at less than 100%. So, we'll balance all of that the rest of the way here for not just Austin, but any of the other guys.
And if you want to look at the glass half full, Sheldon, it does give you a comfort or at least a feel that you can now look at other things like moving players up in the lineup or giving them responsibilities that you may need to go back to in the playoffs. Does that help even going in a competitive environment with Florida and Tampa Bay? Like you can look at smaller pictures here than obviously the big one of needing to win a hockey game.
Yeah, for sure. It's when we looked at last night. Obviously we want Austin to be feeling great and rolling and all of that, but when you remove him from the lineup, I certainly did look at it as an opportunity for us to look at different things, some that we have tried periodically and some that I've had in mind for the last little bit that because we've been playing well as a team, I haven't quite done. And yesterday, as you saw with the lineup and the lines that we rolled with, it gave me a chance to try some different things and give some guys some different looks and different minutes and things like that. I think that can't help but serve our team well down the stretch here. In this last couple of weeks, we're going to continue to look at things like that while also ensuring that we're giving guys proper reps to be feeling good and confident about themselves, not unlike what we're talking about with Jack Campbell, and you want to make sure you've got some consistency in terms of what you might look like, but we need to be flexible and need to be able to adjust based on what's happening, within a series and who our opponent is and home and road and all these kind of things. You got to look at the possibility that you might want to change some things up. So we've been doing plenty of that, and the players have responded well.
One thing that I think a lot of fans see when they're looking at all the shuffling and trying to figure out D pairs that work for you guys and you obviously found a number of effective ones. Brody and Hall have been very good together. Is we haven't seen Brody and Giordano get much run together yet. Is that something you guys intend to do in playoffs, or is it one of those things that you just kind of know you have in your back pocket if you need?
Well, it's something, Morning, we've talked about. I mean, ever since acquiring Gio, when I talked to him, it's something I mentioned that we would look to go to. Now, as it's turned out, we obviously Jake Muzzin hasn't been playing very much with our group, and then as a result, Brody's been playing the left side, say for, I don't know what it was, Muzz played 2 or 3 games. And, when Brody did go back to the right side, we wanted to get a look at some different things like Muzz and Brody, see what that looked like.
Mm-hmm.
And because we liked how Gio, played with, whether it was Liljegren or then we wanted to try it with Hall. We wanted to try some different things there. So depending on how our D shakes out, I mean, if TJ Brody's going to be on the left side, there's not going to be a whole lot of opportunity for Giordano and Brody to play together. And so most of the games, that's been the case. And I don't have a lot of interest at this point, at least, to have 2 righties playing together. I don't think that serves us well. I don't think we have a right-hander that's overly comfortable on the left side. So that's just kind of the way things have shaken out. But we do remain confident that those guys, 2 veteran players, great experience together. If needed, we can put together at any point in time. We may see it down the last 6 games here. But even if we just had to put it together without any real refresher on it, I'm confident those guys can adjust just fine.
Joining us is Sheldon Keefe, head coach of the Toronto Maple Leafs. Sheldon, when it comes to the different feel this time of year, we're usually in the first round of the playoffs here, and of course COVID pushed us back, and a tremendous amount of games now in the last weeks. You guys are experiencing that. How is the challenge for you to keep the energy up or the focus so close here? Because it's not just you guys, but there is a bit of a lull going on with some other teams trying to capture their energy or just the feel of let's get this over with. And to your point, healthy and feeling good, but it's a huge challenge. And even for you as a coaching staff, do you feel the extra 2 weeks that have been taxed on?
Well, you know what? I think we certainly do. I don't know if that's any different than any other season. Regardless of what the schedule is or whatever the situation is, it seems like the last couple of weeks always sort of drag on. And especially this season, I guess you could say, with how, for the most part, the teams in the Eastern Conference have been pretty much determined for quite some time. There's been some jockeying for position, as there continues to be. When you're a team that's having the type of season like we are and you feel like you're certainly going to play in the playoffs, you're definitely looking ahead and you're building towards that. And then you get to a point that you certainly want to just, get on with it. But, the schedule is 82 games and there is still something to play for here. And we're in a position now where we've put ourselves in a good place and we want to hang on to that. We certainly would have liked to have been, giving Florida a better run for first in the division, but it's been really difficult to make up any sort of ground on them with the type of season that they've had. Now we're in a position where we do have home ice in the second round, and we've got 6 games left to maintain that. So that is something for us to continue to build towards and work towards. And we've got a very difficult schedule coming up this week, both in terms of competition and the volume of games and travel and such. So there's a lot of things for us to make sure we stay switched on for here.